Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. Mic check. Keep going. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Mic check. Mic check. You guys good? Yeah. Mic check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Good? Yeah. All right, everyone, we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. Hey, everyone, thanks so much for being here this morning. We are so excited to have such a large crowd. That being said, we're still waiting for a couple of news outlets to set up, and there's a crew setting up right now. So we're going to hold off for just a few more minutes to make sure we can get as much coverage and visibility as possible and get started as soon as we can. How does that sound? All right. Thanks for your patience, y'all. Okay. From here? Okay. Hey, everyone, we have a quick request. If everyone can move a little bit to my left or to your right if you're facing me, a little bit this way, it's going to help our security team a lot. You'll still be able to hear. We'll be able to get the whole crowd in. So if everyone can move a little bit this way, that would be really helpful. Thank you. That way. When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? When workers' rights are under attack, what do we do? Said, what do we do? Said, what do we do? And when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, that's right. Are we ready to win? Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Sanika Mahajan. I'm with Mission Action, an immigrant, tenant, and workers' rights nonprofit based here in San Francisco, and with the San Francisco Rapid Response Network. I'm here with a collaborative of immigrant justice organizations, community members, and so many others to demand that ICE stay out of our courts. In the last week, ICE agents have been going to immigration courts around the country, including here in the Bay Area, as part of a coordinated campaign of fear and terror. Their goal is to undermine due process and to intimidate our immigrant communities into missing their court appointments and putting themselves at further risk of deportation. That's right. But we're here holding this press conference as part of a united front of immigrant justice organizations and other community groups to say that we refuse to support this coordinated campaign of terror. We refuse to be intimidated. We will stand up and fight back, and we'll be here to defend our immigrant communities and make sure they have access to due process day in and day out. ICE's goal is to bypass the legal system and take away people's legal right to asylum by intimidating them into missing their court dates. Their presence here at the court, especially in plain clothes without any clear identification, forces people to make a very difficult decision between attending their court hearing and risking arrest or abandoning their cases altogether. No one should have to face this decision. Our message to our communities is that we are going to be here to defend you. We should be acting out of power, not panic. Everyone should be prepared to exercise their rights and to reach out to community organizations like ours for support. We will never abandon our immigrant communities, no matter what repression they try to hit us with. The more repression that we face, the stronger that we will stand together as a united front against the attacks on immigrants, against the attacks on workers, and against all right-wing billionaire attacks on our rights. We have an incredible lineup of speakers here today, and I'm excited to introduce them. But before I do, I did want to share a couple of things. If you want to check your immigration court status, please call the court case info line at 1-800-898-7180. Once again, that's 1-800-898-7180. And this is the same information for all immigration courts. Please call that line if you would like to check your court status. I also have with me, and a lot of us do, red cards with the information that you should be handing to any ICE or law enforcement if you face any enforcement activity either at the court or at your home or at your workplace. And it basically shows that you have constitutional rights to not open the door, not answer any questions, and not sign anything or say anything without your lawyer present. So if anyone would like to get some, please come up to the podium later. All right. How are we feeling, y'all? We ready to fight back? Are we going to defend our immigrants? That's right. All right. I'm really excited to announce our very first speaker, who is the San Francisco Public Defender, Mano Raju. Please give him a warm welcome.
Good morning. My name is Mano Raju. I'm the elected public defender for San Francisco. It is an honor, a true honor, to stand alongside our immigrant community. Thank you to the many organizations that we partnered with today to organize this empowering action. Your right to go to court, your right to share your story with a judge, to present evidence. These are basic and critical constitutional rights. They are the cornerstones of our democracy. And we are here today to sound the alarm that these fundamental rights are under attack by the Trump regime. For over a decade, our office has proudly defended our immigrant community members from deportation by creating one of the first immigration units within a public defender's office in the country. That's because we know that when community members get their day in court and decisions are made based on evidence rather than allegations, when testimony can be tested by using the tool of cross-examination, and when decision makers can hear the full story, the outcome will be more just. But when the Trump regime sends ICE agents into immigration courts to intimidate people, when DHS attorneys move to dismiss hearings so that immigrants attending courts can be deported without a hearing, we know the intention is to deter people from getting their day in court. That's why we stand with our immigrant community members in San Francisco. We stand with our community partners in Concord. We stand with our community partners in Sacramento and across the country who have been fighting these attacks on due process. With attorneys, with accompaniment volunteers, legal and court observers, we will respond to ICE's unconscionable tactics with organizing and with people power. I invite all people, anyone who is listening, to step up, to be engaged, to participate in our democracy, and to stop this authoritarian attack. When these fundamental due process rights are violated for the most vulnerable, it's not long before those rights are eroded for everyone else. To my fellow local and state elected leaders, I ask that you support the work of rapid response networks, Immigration Legal Services, and our immigration unit by investing more funding in this critical infrastructure. I ask that you also call out the Trump administration and ICE for their scare tactics and loudly reject them. On behalf of our immigration unit and their tireless work to stop deportations, we stand with you. We are here for you. Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time for our San Francisco Public Defender. Just like, hello, testing, testing. Sorry, everyone. It's on. Mic's not hot. Testing, testing. It's hot? It's a speaker. I think it's a speaker. Testing, testing. You can hear? Testing. There we go. We're back. Just like he said, we're responding to this moment with people power and organizing. We're proud to be standing shoulder to shoulder with our public defender and so many immigrant rights groups and community organizations and volunteers who have showed up at this court and the ones in Concord and Sacramento every single day since ICE agents were first spotted at the courts last week. We're here doing accompaniment for immigrant community members with court hearings. We're here observing to make sure we can document what's happening and activate the rapid response networks. And we're here to make sure that our voices are heard. We know that fear is a very effective tactic that the right wing is trying to use right now to divide us up. They want workers to be divided from other immigrants, immigrants to be divided from each other. But we're resisting that. We're going to stand united more than ever against these attacks because we know the people profiting off of them are the billionaires and the right wing that profit off of detention, deportation, and slashing all of our public services. We're not going to let that happen. Is that right? All right. I'm super excited to introduce our next speaker, Millie Atkinson with the San Francisco Immigrant Legal Defense Collaborative. Let's hear it from Millie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Millie Atkinson. I'm with the Justice and Diversity Center of the Bar Association of San Francisco. I'm also a proud member of the San Francisco Immigrant Legal Defense Collaborative. I wanted to start by sharing with everyone that when I attended law school 25 years ago here in San Francisco, I wasn't sure what my path was going to be or how I could best use my law degree. But then I started attending human rights seminars, taking courses on immigration, and I learned about the systems of oppression around the world that force people to leave their homes behind and seek refuge for themselves and their families. And when I began to study immigration law, I saw all of the enormous barriers that exist for those who come to this country seeking safety and a better life for their children. And I am grateful now, in this moment, every day when I wake up and I go to work, I am here standing together with the immigrant community, defending their rights and helping them assert their power to demand access to justice, to demand access to the rights that are enshrined in our laws, enshrined in our Constitution, and guaranteeing due process for everyone in the United States. They deserve a fair, impartial, and just review of their case by a qualified judge. And I know that right now many people feel a sense of hopelessness and despair or existential dread that there's so much coming at us and what can we do? And I want to tell you that you have the power to make a difference. We have the power. We are not going to stand by and let authoritarianism take over our country. We have the power to fight for the tired, the poor, and the huddled masses yearning to be free. We have the power to contact our local officials and demand that they do not pass a budget that's balanced on the backs of the poorest and most vulnerable members of our community. We have the power to demand our elected officials do their job, and when they don't, we vote them out of office. To our local government officials, to our mayor, you have the power to speak up on behalf of this community that sometimes feels vulnerable, powerless, and voiceless. You have the power to be their voice. You have the power to reaffirm San Francisco's sanctuary values and the state of California's sanctuary values. To our Board of Supervisors, you have the power to demand that the services be provided to our San Francisco residents so that they have access to legal counsel, so they can call the Rapid Response Network and have someone help them and support them when their family members are detained and their families are torn apart. To the advocates here today, you have the power every day to stand up for justice and to be on the right side of history. For the immigration attorneys out there, I call on you to reach out to your bar association, your local AILA organizations, and find out where you can show up and volunteer to support the people here on the ground doing the work. And to our community, we have the power. We have the power. Who has the power? Who has the power? Thank you.
Let's hear it one more time from Millie. And for all of our attorneys holding it down here in the courts to support our immigrant communities. All right. Our next speaker is with the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice, Lisa Knox. Let's hear it for Lisa.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Knox. I'm with the California Collaborative for Immigrant Justice, and I'm also proud to be a part of the Legal Empowerment Initiative at the Concord Court. Thank you. And so, like our colleagues in San Francisco, we've seen the outrageous and unprecedented appearance of ICE in immigration courts last week and this week. They've been making arrests in Concord as recently as yesterday. But guess what? They're not here today. Yeah. And they're not in Concord today. And that's absolutely because of people power. That's because of people like you showing up and letting them know that we as a community are going to hold them accountable. We're going to be here. We're going to show up for our immigrant community members. So I'm here to tell you people power works, and we need each and every one of you to continue showing up. In Concord, our volunteers are in the courts every day to support anyone who has to appear without an attorney, just as there are volunteers here in San Francisco today. And we want to remind people that they have the right to oppose any attempt. Okay. I'll speak a little louder. This is important. We want to remind people that they have the right to oppose any attempt by the government to dismiss their case. They have the right to talk to a volunteer lawyer for advice, and they have the right to ask for help from a volunteer if ICE is trying to arrest them. And so if you have an upcoming court date and you're worried about what might happen, we're here for you. And we're here to tell you, you can show up, you can talk to a volunteer attorney, you can call your local rapid response line. There are people who can support you and who can advise you and who may even be able to go to court with you. And in Concord, that number is the Stand Together Contra Costa hotline. It's 925-900-5151 for Concord. There's also numbers in San Francisco and in other Northern California courts that people can call. And of course, if you witness an ICE arrest in court or elsewhere, you can call those hotlines to report ICE activity. And so my message today is don't feel like you have to avoid the court. You're not alone. We're all here for you. There's a whole community of people who are here to support you and advise you. And so again, my message to the advocates is please show up, volunteer in the Concord court with us, volunteer in the San Francisco court with Millie's organization and other organizations. Show up for your community and for your neighbors. Go to court with folks if you know them. Help folks find legal counsel. Help them access their rights. Because again, it takes all of us to do that. And they're starting with immigrants, but they're not going to end there. And so we really need to show up and show that we are not going to take it. So thank you very much. And I'll pass it.
Thank you. Let's hear it for Lisa, everybody. Like Lisa said, ICE isn't here today or in Concord because that's what happens when we stand up, stand united across all sectors of the working class and immigrants and fight back. When we fight back, we can win. Is that right? And we're going to keep showing up here at the courts and day after day in the streets for our immigrant communities as well. I wanted to quickly mention the number for the San Francisco Rapid Response Hotline. As Lisa mentioned, the Concord one. It's 415-200-1548. One more time, that's 415-200-1548. So if you or a loved one is detained or you witness ICE activity anywhere in San Francisco County, the first thing you should do is try to document it and call that number immediately so that we can verify it and give legal resources and other support as soon as possible. This is also not the first time that we've been fighting back. The immigrant communities, immigrant justice groups, and so many other community organizations have been on the front lines of fighting back against right-wing attacks on our rights for the last several months, whether it's in the streets, whether it's doing outreach to our communities, or whether it's at press conferences just like this one. So I'm really excited to welcome our next speaker from the We Fight Back Coalition, Luna. Give her a warm of applause.
Hello, everyone. What we're seeing in courts across the country, including here in San Francisco, is a fear tactic, plain and simple. And when ICE agents are showing up at our courts and intimidating people who are just exercising their democratic rights, that is a fear tactic, right? And it's not an isolated incident. This is just really the latest ploy in a larger scheme of the billionaire class and those who run this country and want to set it up so that they can make more money and divide us at our expense. So what do we think about that? And right now, the biggest burden is falling on our immigrant siblings, right? We have to keep coming out in defense of our immigrant siblings because they want immigrants to feel scared and alone and like no one's going to come out and support them. And they want immigrant organizations and nonprofits to be subdued and just step out of the way out of fear of repression. But I think what this press conference shows, above all, is we're not going to let them do that. And I think all the accompaniments we've been doing, all of the organizing meetings we have, the times we're out in the streets demanding our rights and fighting back and building a movement, that is telling them that we will not let them take our immigrant siblings, deport them out of this country, and we're going to fight back. And for anyone that knows anything about the legal measures for immigrants in this country, you know that they're actually really meager in and of themselves, right? They're really not sufficient, and all of them were won through the organizing and struggle of people who came before us. And even those meager rights that we have now, the right wing and the billionaire class of this country is trying to take those away. They want to entirely sidestep the law and go right into our communities and deport our neighbors, right? But one thing that they did not anticipate is the power of people when we get organized and we come out and say, heck no, we will not let you deport our neighbors. So what we're going to keep doing is we're going to keep coming out to organizing meetings. We're going to keep volunteering for accompaniments. We're going to keep coming out and support every time we see a protest, every time we see organizations and people getting together, because it's the people united that will never be defeated. We can't rely on anyone else to save us, because ultimately it's the people right here in our communities who are going to save us. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Luna. As Luna said, this is really a fight between all of us as workers and the billionaires that are trying to scrape profits off of our back. And deporting our immigrant neighbors is just one of the ways they're doing this. But if they can come for immigrants and due process now, they can come for any of us that stand up against government policies at any time. An injury to one is an injury to all, but a victory for one is also a victory for all. I also want to mention that this press conference is being held jointly with one that's happening at the same time in Sacramento, because our immigrant justice organizations and community in Sacramento are standing up against ICE in the courts as well. And we're going to do so in the Bay Area and across the country for as long as we need to. They think that they can intimidate us or tire us out, but they can't, because we have the power of the people. I'm really excited to introduce our next speaker, who will be talking more about defending sanctuary here in San Francisco. From Free San Francisco and Legal Services for Children, we have Fernando Atuñez.
Good morning, everybody. Please let me know if I need to go up or down. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. My name is Fernando Antunes. I am here on behalf of the Free SF Coalition. And yes, give it up for the Free SF Coalition. And Legal Services for Children. I'm a social worker with Legal Services for Children. And I can't tell you how much I've been waiting for this opportunity, because my job at Legal Services for Children and the connection to Free SF is I work with detained children in the custody of Office of Refugee Resettlement. And over the past few months, my team has been seeing shifts, backdoor dealings, right, to the rules. We've been seeing kids who have been allowed to release to sponsor no longer fit the criteria for reunification. And we're left scratching our heads. My work, at the risk of oversimplifying things, consists of speaking with youth about possibly two of the most important things while they're in detention, and that's their emotions and their rights. And I don't know what's more confusing these days, because when I think about their rights, ICE camping out of the courthouses actually serves as the perfect example for these shifting walls in an increasingly, if it's possible, increasingly more labyrinthian system. We all know that ICE camping out of immigration court is a menace to public safety. We know that when they do this, they're relying on passivity from the public when they prop up this image of the criminal, the terrorist, the thug, the super predator, right? While disappearing at the same time our loved ones and our community members, our neighbors. To that I say shame. Thank you all, because as social workers we say shame doesn't have a place, but I think so, yeah. So the rights, right, of immigrant children, of our immigrant communities here in San Francisco, in Sacramento, in Concord, are constantly shifting. They're trying to keep us on our back foot. And that's confusing enough. When I think back to those two tenants talking to youth about their rights and their emotions while in such a volatile place, I'm actually thinking of this image of, you know, walking onto a tiled floor and the tiles are constantly moving and threatening to give away from under you. And it actually, that image reminds me of a recent conversation I've had with an immigrant youth, talking to them about how they de-stress and, you know, maybe they like video games. They told me about this one video game called Fall Guys. I hope this is the right audience to name drop Fall Guys to. And in there they have this one mini game, because I went ahead and followed up and played the game afterwards to relate to the youth. And they have a mini game where you have to walk from one platform to the other, and in between are a series of tiles that give way, so you don't know which one is going to give way underneath you. You have to walk carefully, or as many people do, just kind of go for it, right? And I feel that with the ground shifting underneath us in real time, the temptation to just go for it is so easy to take up. But I'm inspired by everyone here reminding us of the people who are not just harnessing the power of accompaniment and presence, right, with court watchers, with attorneys of the day, with rapid response folks, and honestly with people who are connecting to their immigrant neighbors, who are connecting to their immigrant family members and community members writ large, because y'all are the ones keeping us level on the floor. And I think it's beautiful when you think of the last piece to consider that any one of us can be that person who accompanies a person either emotionally or physically when they're going through this watershed moment where so much is uncertain. So rounding things out, speaking to the work of Free SF, I take no joy in saying to you all that San Francisco law enforcement has actually been colluding with immigration enforcement since before Trump 2.0. We at Free SF want to say no and encourage everyone to say no to any and all collusion between local law enforcement and federal immigration officials. San Francisco City, and in particular DA Brooke Jenkins, for over the past year, has been collaborating with federal officials to funnel people into removal proceedings. You might be asking, well, how is that? It's again these backdoor deals that are saying one thing and acting in against our interest and against the interest of our communities, immigrant communities. The DA will drop their local case in order to let federal investigators pick up that case, who then, again, these federal investigators then offer what's colloquially known as a fast track deal, waiving in front of them the threat of prolonged detention with federal charges to immigrant community members, and instead saying, hey, maybe you take this fast track deal and save yourself a lot of grief. What they don't know is that at the same time, once they're offering this fast track deal, offering time served, and then a day after, they're also speaking with ERO, Immigration Enforcement, and coordinating so that they can pick up people for deportation. And so this double dealing, right, is what we want to call out. We want to say, DA Jenkins, stop coordinating, stop collaborating, stop colluding with federal immigration, with federal officials. We reject this bait and switch, and we look to our communities for the answer. ICE camping out in front of immigration court, backdoor dealing from the DA's office. We say shame. Shame. We know that when they say fear this boogeyman, we need to get closer, come closer to our communities that they're dealing with as they spew this hateful rhetoric. And in closing, again, thank you all so much for the connection to your immigrant communities, your immigrant neighbors, your immigrant relatives, the court watchers, the attorneys of the day. The people have the power. The thing about emotions and rights is that they really only get respected as you defend them. And we know how to defend them with people power. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Fernando. Here in San Francisco, we were one of the first sanctuary cities in the nation. But that wasn't something that was handed to us. It happened because the people, the workers and immigrants, stood shoulder to shoulder and fought for it until it was undeniable. And we have to do that yet again. Right now, Congress is attempting to pass a budget reconciliation bill that would give tens of billions more in funding to ICE and other militarization. Meanwhile, they're slashing public services and programming like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. But this isn't just happening at the federal level. Here in San Francisco, a sanctuary city, the first of its kind, we just approved $90 million in police overtime while community programming, including critical immigrant rights servicing, is at stake and could be cut. Meanwhile, we have local agencies like the DA collaborating with ICE, circumventing our long-held sanctuary policy. That's right. So we're going to be paying attention both nationally but also locally to the way that the billionaires and the right wing are having their effect and trying to divide up and intimidate our communities. And we're going to stand up and fight back against this at every single level. Is that right? I'm really excited to announce our final speaker from TVU Trabajadores Unidos, Workers United. Iris, please welcome them.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Iris, and I'm part of Trabajadores Unidos, Workers United, a worker center here in the Bay Area that organizes immigrant workers. Today we gather in solidarity, recognizing that the struggle for justice never stops. TVU, like many of us gathered, has been at the forefront defending the rights of immigrant workers, fighting labor exploitation, and building collective power. Today, ICE agents are showing up to immigration courts in our communities to frighten people, interfere with our right to due process, and ensure our communities feel unsafe. All while there is a detention center that the government and the state of California want to open up here, right here in our backyard. We are hearing that the building ICE wants to use is the federal women's prison in Dublin, which was shut down just last year in April. Because the incarcerated folks, mostly immigrants, were terribly abused, retaliated against when speaking up for the terrible conditions that they were facing and being sexually assaulted. And the building itself is in such terrible conditions, finding mold and asbestos, and it was shut down through organizing and mobilizing. if they succeed in reopening this facility, it would be the biggest detention center in Northern California. And what makes us think that things will be any different to our immigrant communities if they are detained and put into this facility? Which is why we need to organize and mobilize to shut this down and say no to the Dublin Detention Center. Because let's be clear, this isn't just about Dublin, okay? This is about the working class across Northern California. And we, the people, have already shown what power looks like. So, it takes organizing and mobilizing. And right now, the federal government is scheming to bring this violence back. But we are here today to say that we won't let this happen. So we ask to move as one, East Bay and San Francisco United, labor and community linked arm in arm, because we know that when they come for one, they come for all of us. And if ICE does not care where our people live or work, they are counting on us to stay divided. And we say, no, not this time, not never. And also, TVU is part of ACUDIR, Alameda County United in Defense of Immigrant Rights, a coalition that is talking to community members in Dublin to make sure to keep ICE out of Dublin. And we want to share with y'all today that we are having a community forum this Saturday, May 31st, and ask that as a community member, you show up, and we extend that invite to y'all. If y'all want to talk to us, we can share more about this event with y'all. But we ask that all of us here gathered today to continue to show up like actions like this, and continue to share with community, to show up to community and share with our immigrant communities that we are right here with you. Because when immigrant workers are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Thank y'all.
Let's hear it for Edie's. And let's hear it one more time for all of our speakers today. And let's hear it for all of you, our community members that came up at 9:30 on a Wednesday morning to stand up for our immigrant communities. Today, there are dozens of us here in the streets. There are dozens more upstairs accompanying our immigrants to their court appointments. And ICE is nowhere to be found. And that is what happens when we show our people power. This isn't the first time that we've stood up and fought back, even since the Trump administration came into power and stepped up deportation. And it's not going to be the last. Is that right? We will be here as long as it takes to defend our immigrant communities and to defend all workers from these attacks. We're also going to make sure we never go back to a status quo where something like this can happen ever again. So to all of you that are here today, whether it's your first time or your 100th time in the streets with us, make sure it's not your last. To our federal government and the Department of Justice, we demand that you stop the campaign of fear and misinformation inside immigration courts, guarantee legal representation for all, and end all court collaboration with ICE. To our local governments in San Francisco, Concord, Sacramento, and around the Bay Area, end all local collusion with ICE and the federal government. Fund immigrant services fully, and stand with our communities as we stand shoulder to shoulder with our immigrant brothers and sisters. And to our immigrant communities, make sure to know your rights and get in contact with community organizations that can support you. Don't spread fear or any misinformation. And everyone should be organizing locally to protect your neighbors. If you have questions about your rights or fearing ICE deportation, detention, or activity in your neighborhood or at your home or workplace, call the hotlines for your appropriate county. Or get in contact with a community organization that can help you with accompaniment. We don't want anyone to miss their court hearings because of intimidation or fear. That's only going to put us on a faster track to deportation. Show up to court and get in contact with community organizations that can support you. We're not going to leave you alone. We will not abandon any of our immigrant brothers and sisters. Before we end, I want to remind everyone of a couple very important numbers. If you have questions about your court date or want to confirm the status of your case, please call 1-800-898-7180. And once again, that court date info is active for all courts. Rapid response in San Francisco is, this is actually Sacramento, 916-382-0256. That's Sacramento. And rapid response in San Francisco is 415-200-1548. I want to say one more time that we're not going to be intimidated. We're not going to bow to this campaign of terror and fear, and we're not going to let them divide us from our immigrant communities or any workers. We will not allow the courtrooms to be turned into traps. And instead, we're turning them into a place of resistance against this campaign of fear and terror. We're going to continue to fight back on all fronts against the right wing and the billionaires that are trying to attack our rights, whether it's our immigrants, our students, education, social services, or really anything that is a fundamental right of workers in this country. And I want to invite everyone to get more involved. Feel free to take flyers, know your rights materials and red cards, flyers for the organizing meetings that are back here as well. And I want to say one last thank you to all of our speakers, to our legal teams and attorneys, our volunteers that are working hard on accompaniment, and to all of you for being here. Because when immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. And when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Are we ready to win? That's right. Thank you all. Please make sure to leave safely and with a buddy if you can. Thank you to our security team also for holding it down today and keeping us all safe.